Remember when we saw Matilda Fisher when we got Battenberg?
Hmm.
That was a rough knee kicking.
I love the fact, like, this major plot event that happens. you refer to it as, remember that time we got Battenberg? It's a real defining moment.
Matilda Fisher was there as well when we got Battenberg.
Do
So
you
that was a
remember the
rough
great
music.
day of Battenberg? Also Matilda Fisher. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Yet Another LARP podcast with me and Matt. Hey Matt,
Hello,
how are you
everybody.
doing?
I'm good, thanks, Mark. How are you?
Oh, very well. I'm full of Easter eggs.
I'll say, how has your Easter been?
It's been good. It's been quite chill, actually. We did a little Easter egg hunt in the garden for our nephews.
Nice.
Yeah, other than that, recovering from a cold.
Oh, of course, yeah. You've been a bit unwell. Yeah, we didn't tempt the Easter egg in the garden because we didn't want to. It was a bit wet, to be honest. So we just dotted around the house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it's again another chill one as well, which has been lovely.
Yeah. Well, talking of Easter eggs,
why are we here?
Here's what we've got planned for tonight's episode. Let's talk about E1. Let's talk about winds of fortune and war.
What we have access to, should we say? Because they're still being released. But
let's talk about some of the ones we have so far.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to do as many episodes as we can on as many of them as we can. But
provided we have the time,
we may run out of time. They may still be coming out on the day of the event, which they have been.
We are known for our tardiness when it comes to producing and releasing content. So
yeah, that too. I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah.
We've given ourselves a 3-week window to produce like 4 episodes, where it's taken 6 months to produce 2. So, but I mean, maybe there's faith.
I'm feeling quietly confident in our abilities.
Yeah. Maybe. I wouldn't say no.
So how long is it now? 3 weeks. We've got 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it was quick math, so I don't know how long we've got. Is it the 20? So yeah, 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think.
Yeah.
I think we could do it if we have enough to talk about.
And the best thing is we planned another episode not to do with the wins, which we hope to get recorded and released before E1. So
yes, special guests.
I mean, this is the beauty of doing recordings, though, right? Is we could do another one tomorrow. We won't, but we could.
You know why we can't do another one tomorrow?
We play games on a Tuesday. That's correct. But also, I just don't think we would. even if we weren't busy tomorrow.
Do you know what? Even if we had 10 weeks to go, we still wouldn't be doing 3 more episodes.
Correct.
No, we'll do as much as we can. We've got some. If we can pull them off, we've got some cool ideas for some shorter videos, some YouTube shorts and stuff. Some easily digestible content for you guys.
Yes, we do. It's very true. Yeah, and I mean, hopefully with something like this, if you're sort of heading to E1 or you're sat there packing for E1, you can slap us on and let us talk into your ears about the upcoming event. You know, talking about upcoming events, Mark, like we low-key have been pretty excited. You know, what do you reckon you're most buzzing for E1?
I don't know. It's new character, isn't it? New character, new nation. Everything's new. New people, new plot, new stuff.
We've got some good plot as well, haven't we, coming up? So
yeah. I think we've both got some cool ideas to get ourselves involved.
And I think the winds are helping as well with some interesting stuff. So, which we'll be talking about in momentarily. But
I'm also keen for the new OC seating area.
Yeah,
somewhere to sit down properly.
Yeah, it's been announced. Was it last week or maybe the week before? But they've had a rejig on the sort of catering area. So they've made sort of a designated eatery. So I think they're gonna, like, all their food places are where they are currently, aren't they? But they've made an undercover, or they're planning on doing an undercover seating area. Which is a very good idea. And they've moved some traders out from the middle of the field to where the eateries are currently as well. So you're going to have like another trading area with the vendors for food, and then a nice sitting area, which, to be honest, is probably going to be packed. So we'll still be without seats, because everyone will flock to it. But it sounds like a great idea and a great move by PD.
Essentially, there's no escape from shopping. They're trying to put something in everywhere.
It's a quality of life thing, isn't it? Because they could have left it, but they haven't. They've chose to do something like this, and to be honest, it's probably actually a lot of work their end. But I think it will be muchly appreciated. So that's cool. That's slightly something looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
Everything you said. Lots actually. Yeah. So I've been off and on about E1 because between me and you, we got a lot going on, haven't we? So trying to stay positive and mentally in the zone for E1 is tricky. But new character, very much excited to get into. We've just got some really good eggs that we're friends with at the moment, and it'd be nice to do some game time with them, if I'm honest.
Massively.
Could shout out to a few people. They know who they are, but we got some lovely orc friends, and they're going above and beyond to make us included, or make us feel included, which is great. Not just us, new orcs in general. So I feel like we're gonna have a real warm welcome, which is lovely.
Yeah.
I'm excited to sniff at some new kit at the event, which I don't need, but I want to.
That first
have a look.
shopping trip we're going to take, mate, is going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, so looking forward to that. I commissioned some braces, arm armor, from our mate Ed, and I should be collecting that at E1, which is nice. What else am I looking for? Had to move around with the van. I changed the sleeping arrangements on the van. Looking forward to trying that out. Very looking forward to trying that out. And there was something else which I've forgotten, but maybe it was just E1 in general. Plot stuff. We again talking about the wins and stuff. We've got some big stuff happening this event. So I just want to get my teeth sunk into it. I guess mainly I just want to get there and enjoy myself. So
yeah, which I think we will. I know we've had many hours of conversation of, obviously we're going into a new nation, knowing relatively few people. A bit daunting, but I think we're gonna have a blast, to be honest. After what I can only describe as a disjointed year last year,
yes,
LARP-wise,
extremely disjointed, and a disjointed year this year already.
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to poo-poo Wintermark because they were our home nation for quite a while. I'm feeling a real warm welcome from the orcs, from who I've met already, which is nice. I guess Wintermark may, for me, have lost that because it's such a big nation. Or maybe, I don't know. So, it's the orcs are just seeming really cool right now. We always bang on about the orcs, but they're amazing. So
we do. I think it might be partly because they naturally get a bit of a bad rep because they're scary orcs, And I think for a long time we've heard sort of negative stuff that maybe
even not true or no longer a thing. Yeah, definitely. I think they've always had that. I don't want to talk much about it because I feel like it may be starting rumors, but it's kind of like I feel at first I felt the orcs were quite high entry, high level entry to get in. You've got to be quite committed. You got to be super RP, super kit, which I don't think's the case.
I don't
that first impression. Whereas now, maybe we're just more experienced ourselves, and we're hitting that higher entry level. I don't know.
I think
maybe there is.
It's still a commitment, because obviously you've got to deal with the additional kit of you have to have a mask. So I think it's fair to say that it is more of a commitment. But yeah, you're right. It definitely doesn't seem as impossible a mountain to climb to get into the orcs as it originally did.
well, it originally seemed like, so we'll see. But also, we've yet to do an event as Orcs, so we could get there and be like,
Post E1, our first video could be why you shouldn't be an Imperial Orc.
Yeah, no, it won't. It'll never be that. So, yeah, yeah. Again, without being mean to Orcs, that's what I had that vibe for it, But whereas now I'm a bit like, do you know what? Let's go. Yeah. Let's have a good time. So, yeah. Sort of lost my train of thought on where we were at, apart unless we were still just talking about buzzing about E1. If that be the case,
we could probably talk about how buzzing we are all night, but why don't we talk about some of the things that are coming up in E1 that are
which is
things to get buzzing about?
Yeah, exactly. Bingo. I know you've got something already, which is very exciting news.
Yeah, so this is big time news because it's only ever happened once before in the entire game.
10 years of Empire Profound Decision history.
Yeah, and that is we have a new Empress. Yes. Whoa. Very cool. Obviously, that means that there's a potential to have a massive party and a big celebration, which is the thing that hasn't happened other than once at the very start of the game.
Yeah. I was going to quickly say, I don't know whether I just nitpick, but what an interesting thing, which I didn't realize about I assumed the title was always just referred to as Empress, regardless of who it was. But apparently each Emperor, Empress, or whoever they want to be, can determine what you call them.
Yes,
which
they
is
may
really
choose their own form of address.
So Elizabetta went by Imperatrix. So I guess the default is Emperor or Empress.
The default is their Imperial Majesty.
Imperial Majesty. There we go. So, yeah, that's interesting. So, I don't know. I found it really interesting. That's why I just wanted to quickly bring it up before we shifted on.
Definitely. There's a really interesting. It's one of the Winds of Fortune anyway, so it ties in anyway. But there's a whole section on how to address the throne, and it does mention a few examples of previous, obviously, emperors and empresses that we've never met, just within the history.
Emprise. There we go.
Yeah, so Emperor James preferred to be addressed as Your Honor, while Empress Richilda favoured the Dornish Milady Empress. So there's scope for, obviously, it's just a fun little thing for the player character to, spice up their RP in the position.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be interesting to see where our Emperor Empress goes with it, because they are Verishkin. Which I don't know about you. Well, maybe you have, Mark, because you missed the last couple of events. Is that right?
Yes. I missed E4.
Was it just okay? Yes.
I missed E1 and E4.
I missed E4 as well, technically. So, but I was kind of out the loop with the Emperor stuff. So I think because I was there at the start of E4, and I was like, oh, what's going on with the Emperor elect or whatever? They're like, oh yeah, it's been decided. I was like, since when? And then earlier on today, when I was looking through the wiki, saw a picture of the Imperatrix, or whatever they're going to be called, and it's someone I recognise. It's really cool. This is obviously a senator, because I think. Well, no, they didn't have to be a senator, but it was. I think it was the senator that gave.
They were a senator of Ossium, I believe.
Ossium, so I think they were booted out of senatorial. You know, I'm not going to waffle into it because I could be completely wrong, and maybe it's game, and I shouldn't be talking about words.
Their player character is Empress Vesna, Borkovna, Proknost.
What I was trying to say is,
I'm sorry if I've butchered that. If the player character of the new Empress is listening or watching this, I'm sorry. I'm so bad with IRL names, let alone Empire names.
What I was trying to say is they're a really cool character, so it was nice to see them. Not some sort of slimy character from the league that got it. Not talking about anyone in particular, I'm just saying. So it was cool. Firstly, yeah, cool. So new Empress. The fact that the wiki says Empress, I think we'll just refer to them as Empress now for the time being. But
yeah, it's just the Winds that says it at the moment. But I imagine after their coronation, which is the other thing we'll talk about in a minute. I guess after the coronation is when we'll find out what they want to be referred to as.
Why? When is the coronation?
Well, first of all, there is a coronation. The coronation is happening at E1. I sent you the times, didn't I? And the dates. I think it's Saturday, starting
they're going to
at
do
1:30.
a parade type thing, aren't they? They're going to
Yeah.
march round Anvil, showing off the new throne.
In fact, I've got it here from the wiki. So, 1:30, the tour begins in Highguard, and then it goes Highguard, Urizen, Brass Coast, Dawn, Wintermark, Imperial Orcs, Navarre, League, marches, and finishes in Varushka at 3 p.m. This is on the Saturday. So I don't know what that will entail. If it's just walking around, I guess just saying hello, kind of like the royal one in real life.
Yeah, it might be a formal meet and greet. Maybe the senators will go up. Did we say? I don't know if this is really simple, but I work this way. Did we say that the Empress is a player? Probably did. Goes without saying. Well, I'm saying they're not NPC, is what I'm saying.
No, we haven't said that now. We may have in a previous video, but yeah, you're right. It's a player. It's a player character. It's played by a player. Position.
So I thought just in case people were wondering, it's which is something to aspire to, I guess, which is cool. But yeah, so going back to their sort of parade thing, I think.
Well, before you go on to that, a really good point, I think, leading on from what you've just said, is that you're right. Anyone can technically become emperor or empress. This person, it actually says in here that they started playing maybe 3 years ago, so not a veteran player by any means. So experience isn't necessarily the thing that's needed to become emperor or empress. You know, anyone could do it. Anyone could do it.
That's very nice. Cool.
You just gotta assassinate the current one. That's the only thing.
Just gotta lock them in the autumn realm or whatever happened to Elizabeth.
Throw them in the autumn well, in the autumn realm hole. Yeah, I don't know.
One of the realms they took a tumble off a cliff and that was it. But yeah, so I'm guessing like with the Throne Patrol, they're gonna like meet and greet. So for example, Wintermark.
Let me see if it says.
Maybe you'll get like the 7 come out and shake their hand or something. I don't know. Or it's just everyone will stand on the road waving as they walk past.
Yeah, possibly. As is customary, the celebration of the coronation will begin on the second day of the summit with a tour of the nations, with the new Empress visiting each nation in turn. Citizens who wish to use this opportunity to make themselves known to the Emperor should ensure they keep any personal matters brief, as the throne's journey will be carefully choreographed by the Speaker for the Senate. I don't know who that is.
A quick Q&A. If it's the same Speaker of the Senate, I think it is.
I think, a
very good player.
Logistically, I think the best way to do it is have people line the streets like they would a royal coronation in real life.
Like throw eggs and stuff, yeah. No.
That's off the record. That's not endorsed by yet another LARP podcast.
Rough music. Although slight tangent, they've changed the wording on rough music, haven't they? So it's less aggressive. You've not seen that? Updated the wiki.
No, I hadn't even heard the term until you just said it.
Well, we're in the midst of rough music. It's the marches. Like, it's not half. Is it half magic? Basically, if they have a disagreement, they all come around and bang the drums and cause a ruckus. Remember when we saw Matilda Fisher when we got Battenberg? That was a rough music king.
I love the fact, like, this major plot event that happens. you refer to it as, remember that time we got Battenberg? It's a real defining moment.
Matilda Fisher was there as well when we got Battenberg.
Do you remember the great day of Battenberg? Also Matilda Fisher.
So they've changed the wording now, so you can't really get in people's face and bang a drum. You've got to
Oh, okay.
You parade. I think you go to where you want a rough music. You do a couple of minutes, and then you have to leave. Like, you can't just tear the place apart. They were doing that one time.
Terrible. That's protest censorship. That is.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say it.
Yeah.
But you're right to protest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Egregores had a word with themselves and were like, "Oh, maybe we should behave a bit." To be honest, it was quite of an aggressive thing. And if anyone suffers with slight, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyone who doesn't like a drum banged in the face might not like it. So they've changed it. Going back to.
Well,
I've said it. I've got lost.
No, that's fine. Well, going back to what we were already talking about.
That's what I was trying to do.
It says, nonetheless, there will be a small window for members of each nation to give the Empress a formal welcome in traditional national style if they wish to do so. Then
hear a little throat warbling. Can't wait.
Pit fight with the Empress. And then after the tour is the actual coronation, which is happening somewhere in the middle of Anvil. I imagine there'll be a special area, especially now there's less traders. There's probably a bit more space to put some kind of special coronation area up for people. But that's all it says at the moment, just in the middle of Anvil. Or near the centre of Anvil, it says. So it might be behind Senate, maybe. That's the only space I can think of, really.
Well, I was going to say, saying that they've moved all the traders, but if you've been at Empire for the last 2 years, you get used to the phrase of every event is the largest event they've ever done. So, they've made a load of room in the midfield, but I reckon they're going to fill it with player tents. But yes, they could. I would assume they'd do the coronation in the Senate building, but it's not a very big Senate building, so maybe they'll do it in like High Guard, sort of Moot Square type thing, something like that, or maybe like the Academy because they've got a big outdoor bit at the Academy.
Well, the official correspondence we have is once the tour is complete, the coronation ceremony will take place near the centre of Anvil, where an area will be set aside with seating arranged for those that need it most.
So a predetermined. That's cool. So it's obviously going to be. That's fine. And then I'm guessing, like, obviously, once a parade goes past, everyone will just start following them, and you'll have a big crowd. Maybe should Brog and Gadak go to it? Perhaps.
I think we will scope out the general vibe of the rest of the orcs, but obviously the whole idea. This again, not to go into Imperial Orc stuff too much, but they are supposed to be fiercely loyal to the Empire. As well as themselves.
Yes.
So I think it will generally be like, oh yeah, cool, new Empress. I think. I could be wrong.
No,
and if there's any Imperial Orcs watching, please correct me in the comments below. Or if you're listening on Spotify, there is a cool little thing where you can answer a question about how you like this episode, which I'd never seen before. I noticed it when I was uploading stuff.
Fill that baby out then.
Yeah. So at 3:15 is when the main coronation begins. Each nation will be invited to make a formal presentation to the new throne in line with their hearth magic and customs. I don't know how they're going to police that. I assume they mean a person from each nation?
Let me throw an idea at you right now. What happens at 12:30 on a Saturday?
Bratwursts for all?
What happens after bratwurst on a Saturday? Is it? No, it's not even 12:30, is it? Is it 11?
You mean the fight? The big fight?
The fight, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to miss... Are people that go on the fight... maybe, no, I might have this wrong. Yeah,
that's why it's 1:30. It starts at 1:30.
Yeah. I thought it started.
Remember, the players will be back before monsters as well.
Yeah, they should be back. Yeah, they should. I was just going to say, like, hang on a sec. Are they doing, like, the coronation, like, whilst the battle's going on? So half people are going to miss it. But no, they should be fine.
Yeah, in the middle of the...
foolishness. I'm stupid. Did not know the times. But yes. Okay.
Yes, so the ceremony will happen after all of the main fighting is done on Saturday, so nobody will miss it. Which is cool.
Yeah, no, it's a cool event. It's a bit like should probably be there. It's quite important. So
it's the equivalent of like missing history in the making in real life.
To a certain extent. So.
Coronation of a new empress in a world where we are obsessed with the Empire in theory. As characters,
as nations, yeah.
It should be something that everyone goes to, but obviously people are more than welcome to not go and be outwardly against it, and then be ready for Inquisition. Yeah. So. Yeah, no, that's a cool thing to happen then, isn't it? It is. Cool thing to... There's also there's going to be foreign dignitaries coming for it.
Ah, that's interesting.
So far, the Commonwealth, Faradin, Axos, Otkadov, and Sarkovian
Dales?
Sarkophan.
I always call them Sarkovian, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
They've all indicated they intend to send a representative to acknowledge the new Empress. Oh, and that's interesting. As a matter of protocol, foreign ambassadors are requested not to discuss political matters at this time.
I guess it stops players going to be like, oh great, let's go run off and do a meeting with when the delegates are there for the ceremony, not to be fucking waffled at by players.
Yeah, it literally says any citizen who has business with the nation in question should ensure they keep the matter until after the coronation is concluded.
Or be kneecapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the militia.
There's even a weird, not weird, but an intriguing paragraph about gifts, giving gifts to the Empress. To the point where it will be up to the Empress to dispose of them as they wish. And that's not throw away technically. But apparently some emperors previously, or empresses, have given all formal gifts over to the synod to determine suitably virtuous recipients. So they'd give them out to other citizens. And then another Emperor Giovanni, had almost all the gifts he received while on the throne auctioned through the bourse. Cool. Just cheeky, innit? That's like getting a Christmas gift and then asking to return it.
I mean, your throne, you can do what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Nice. So that's probably, I would say, the biggest in-game thing that's happening.
That we know of so far, but
we know of so far.
It's going to be taken up which is another thing is like, be interesting to see what players, nations do to make the most of this. You know, are you going to get nations getting to clubbing together and be like, let's present the Empress with some really cool gift, or you might get some houses or halls or banners or whatever who are like, let's get a cool gift for the Empress.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool to see how the field of Anvil turns out for the coronation and what they make of it.
So for anyone who is interested in, I guess, getting their character's name and face out there, the OOC note on the end of this Wind of Fortune says this represents a singular opportunity for any player who wants to get involved in the celebrations, help make the occasion as momentous as possible. So there's plenty.
Do a real good job.
There's plenty for players to get stuck in with. And as they say, the coronation of a new throne is one of the most unique events in Empire. This is only the second time it's happened in the 10 years that Empire's been running.
Have we mentioned the money?
The money? No, that's on the other winds. The other Winds of Fortune. Which we can go straight into.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll probably skim that. It's only a sort of tack on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's linked to the coronation, basically, in the new Empress. There's basically a really interesting opportunity for players as a collective to raise some funds for some massive celebrations.
Yeah.
Basically, you got 3 tiers of celebration. You got your bronze package, your silver package, and your gold package. Obviously, it would be cool to get the gold package, and no pressure, but when Empress Lisbetta was crowned originally, the players raised the funds for the gold. I'm calling them bronze, silver, and gold, but that's not what they're called. It's Wondrous Celebrations is the top tier package. The players raised 500 thrones at the very start of the game, which would have been a big task at the very beginning.
So, am I right in thinking that this money is raised and then paid into PD, the god or civil service, and then it pays for celebrations that aren't in Anvil, right? That they're going to be out in the Empire.
Yes.
So it's not something we would physically see at Anvil. It's more of a, and then I'm only going to assume that this will maybe make people happy if there's a really good celebration.
Yeah.
Is there a mechanical effect? Is it going to buff us with anything, or is it purely there to just be a thing?
I think it's just there to be a thing and just to be like, let's have a big old off-screen party. So when
theory,
the Empire when the Empire did it for Empress Lisbetta, it says that the cities of the League were transformed into wonderlands for a week. Bridges of magical glass were conjured to link the spires of Urizen to allow celebrants to travel from mountain to mountain. There were grand tourneys in Dawn and festivals in the marches. Every nation of the Empire took part and experienced that few will ever forget.
This is an RP experience then, isn't it?
What I think will have... what I think will eventually happen is maybe they'll put a, like in player packs, they say like, oh, you're experiencing this RP effect, and it's like for E2, maybe everyone who goes feels just absolutely buzzing because they've been partying in their home nation for like 3 months,
Crippling hangovers for everyone.
Yeah, that would be cool. Bees in the brain.
Nice. So is that the entire of that wins? Pretty much just paying for a celebration?
Essentially, there are some other bits. So the title of the Monarch of Dawn is vacant. And that's a weighty consideration for the new Empress, it says. Whether to challenge for the title of Queen of Dawn. As a citizen of Varushka, Vesna would not be permitted to fight in the resulting tourney and would need to rely solely on the support of Dornish nobles to fight on her behalf.
Oh.
Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know any of that. Empress Lisbetta was the first throne in over a century to ask the Dornish noble houses to fight for her on the tourney field.
Classic Lisbetta.
So there's that. The first responsibility of the new Empress will be to ratify her own election and the creation of the Citizen's Voice, which is a position. And it's... I don't know what it does. This title should be able to propose a single Senate motion for that summit only. On the advice of the Constitutional Court, this Senate motion would not need seconding.
Oh.
So it's just... It basically gets...
Senate motion.
Yeah.
It's an easy Senate motion.
But the Citizen's Voice would also not have the power of seconding anything else.
So the Citizen's Voice is a title given to a player that's not a senator, a citizen, and they get a voice. And they get to put... So, so for example, you could rock up and be like, hey, try to build this. We all want to build this, but we can't get it through the senators because they're not interested. Because the senators are busy people and have tons of things on their mind. So, that's an interesting one. And that's just a one for that event.
So that's got to be ratified by the new Empress, as well as their own appointment needs to be ratified. Otherwise, it hangs out in suspension until a time where the throne decides to ratify it, which I don't know why you wouldn't. Does the throne only get a certain amount of ratifications per event?
I wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo.
I'm not sure. There's also a number of new titles for the Empress to appoint. So nobody's held the position of Captain of the Throne Guard. Because the title was completed in the months following the disappearance of Empress Lisbetta, so no one's actually sat in the position.
I bet someone's going around calling themselves Captain of the Throne Guard, though. I'll put money on it. I'll put a crisp one-ring coin on
it. And also the Queen's Rose, which is a national Dornish position. The responsibility to foster friendship and alliances between Dorne and other nations of the Empire.
I mean, yeah. No, Jay. No,
and also the Keeper of the Imperial Menagerie is coming up.
Nice. So, a load of titles to be appointed, and the Empress needs to sit on that throne.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't say, but there are lower tiers. Well, we said briefly about them. There are lower tiers of celebrations, which... Why? Let's just go for it. Let's go for the big boy celebration.
Go home, isn't it? I mean, I think RP wise, everyone's going to be on board with it because like why not? And some big money spender's going to be like, here's everything.
Yeah.
Or the league will pay for those because they love parties, right? Assuming. So
I think it will very quickly be funded. I mean, the grand celebration, which is the lowest one, that's 80 thrones, and that will be a celebration on par with those that greeted the ascension of Empress Britta. So,
rest in peace.
Yeah, they didn't have a very big party. It turns out there were. Well, it says it paid for parades, street entertainment, decorations, and food across the empire, including hiring a great number of entertainers, musicians, and artists. It says it will significantly improve the morale of the empire. So I imagine that the big one will do something big.
And that's a slight segue into what we could talk about next, where the Empire is in need of morale.
Going back to the Wanderous celebrations, if the Empire provides enough funding to pay for Wanderous celebrations, they are determined to ensure that the resulting festivities are unrivaled in Imperial history.
Big
pie.
pies. That's what we should be going for.
Yeah. I'll put a throne in. That's one.
I put 2 rings in. That's all I got. No. That's cool. Nice.
Yeah, so that's the only Winds of Fortune that have come out. That's the only Winds of Fortune that are on the wiki. I don't know if any have been posted. I don't think there have been.
I've been looking briefly, and I can only see... Well, yeah, normally when they release a Winds of Fortune, it's a link to the wiki, right? So...
Yeah, in fact, at the time of recording, there have only been those 2, even if there have been more.
Bingo.
Because no one knows when we recorded this.
No. Well, I mean, we told them it was Easter weekend.
Yeah.
A shame.
Oh no. Oh no. Caught me
yes.
4K.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, we might try rattle a couple of other fortunes when they come out. But for now, that's what we got. I thought it'd be cool to, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I was about to ask. Well, I was about to say, I hear you've been looking through a couple of Winds of War.
Yes, briefly. So I thought it'd be worth talking about what Winds of War we currently have. So we are focusing mainly on the big bad at the moment, which is the Cold Sun. I don't know if anyone knows about it. If they don't know about it, I'm not the person to tell you because I don't know enough.
Tell us, Matt.
They're of the day realm, I think. I think they're of the day realm, and they're sort of heralds of a certain Eternal that has been sent forth to wreak havoc upon the Empire. So we've had all these sort of. Are they the day realm? They gotta be, haven't they? It says Eternal of Day. I could be completely wrong. Anyway,
if it says the Eternal of Day, then it should be Day Realm.
That's what the wiki's for. Go check it out. So these Cold Sun are sort of like beefed up soldiers that have rocked up with a load of armies. They kind of appeared across the Empire with the idea of just trashing the place. So at the time of recording, at this current point in time, we have Cold Sun dotted across the Empire. I'll quickly talk about where I think we have armies. Where they were cropped up before the start of the Winds of War, we had... in fact, I'll be able to tell you quickly here just how many armies we've had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 Cold Sun armies in the Empire. Of differing strengths. And they've been dotted around. So we've had one army in Calavesa, one army in Hanmark, an army in Segura, an army in Bregersland, an army in Bastion, an army in Miaran, an army in Karov, and an army in Hercynia, as well as an army in Voldemarts. I think that's what it's called. So yeah, all over the place, which isn't necessarily good, but luckily we've had our armies dotted around. So these Winds of War are sort of addressing the current military climate, where we've been and what's been going on. So we've had some goods and we've had some bads. I haven't written them all down actually, but we'll just go through what I've written down. So to start with, we've got Cold Sun Army, the Fire Beacon. They've been in Segura. And we've had the Wintermark Army and the sort of Brass Coast Army gone and given them a bloody nose. Knocked them down to like half strength. So they've really done a number on the army, and there's this Cold Sun sort of army sat there now trying to recover. So that's a win in my book. They might not be in a position to do much, this Cold Sun army. Now these armies have given them what for. And depends what these armies are going to do now this current season. Are they going to stick at it and try wipe this army out, or are they going to go off and do some more important things? So that's sort of what's going on in Segura. So that army's, in my book, sort of dealt with. Got another Cold Sun army, the Ending Tide, that have spent their time in Bregersland. And from memory, we had like 4 armies in Breaker's Land, and that sort of the ending tide have been double dealt with, and they're gone. So they've been wiped out essentially, which is great. A common theme with a lot of these Colton armies is they've hit into regions and territories, and they just start trashing the place. So I'm not going to list them, but quite a few of these territories that they've had armies in have lost or had reduced effect on like great works or sinecures or personal resources. So on a few of them, they've destroyed a great works at one place. They've trashed a sinecure on another place. They've stolen a season's worth of Ilium out of one great works. So they're just trying to destroy things.
So correct me if I'm wrong. I have had a brief skim of the wiki for the Cold Sun, but apparently it's an Eternal that appears to have some existential hatred of art and free will. So that probably explains why it's attacking things that the Empire's built. It sees creative endeavors and creatures that go after this as a fundamental flaw. So it literally just wants to destroy everything.
Yeah, it's here for destruction. So the first 2 armies I've covered, we've kind of dealt with. One army's gone, the other army's pretty beat up. This leads us on to another Cold Sun army in Bastion, where they've really done a number on Bastion. But Bastion's the army, can't remember what army it was, but we've given the Cold Sun and Bastion a sort of a bloody nose again. But they're not really in a point that they're going to retreat. They're sort of sitting tight. They're not running away. They're sort of getting their foothold back. So yeah, that's an interesting one. And Bastion's not in a good place themselves. So that might need urgent care going forward. We'll see. Next one is Hercynia. Sorry. So we had a army there, the Still Walkers, and they were with the help of the Great Forest Orcs, I believe, this one, which is cool. We had the Great Forest Orcs and I think a Navarre army there. They've had a boxing match with the Still Walkers. Again, gave them what for. And this Stillwalker army, Cold Sun armies, decided to do a runner. So they've gone out of the territory, which is great news. But we didn't destroy the army. The army's now gone back into its realm with the idea of it can pop back up when it's ready somewhere else if it wants. So, yeah, we didn't destroy it, but we've got rid of it for now. So, a slight win.
Almost certainly temporarily.
A temporary win, but fair play, because it frees up. I'd like to say it maybe frees up that Navarre army to go and help elsewhere. Going on to another army, the Empty Hands in Miarin. They are sort of doing what they want in Miarin. I don't think there's an army nearby. So they've just been looting Oakways, and it's a third of the way captured or conquered. So that's not great.
That's not great.
That needs attention. So Miarin's not doing too well.
No, that's considered the heartland of Navarre, so that's pretty bad for Navarre listening.
I didn't. Yeah, I'm glad you knew that because I did not. So yeah, we got that going on. That's everything I've written down. So we've got some more to look at. So we've got there's an army in Varushka. Let me have a look. The Shepherds of Ash, they're in Voldemarts, and they've not done much in Voldemarts yet, but they haven't really suffered casualties or anything, so they're sort of unchecked at the moment, and we haven't done much damage to them. So again, they're in a prime. So again, need attention because they haven't done a hell of a lot yet, but going back to I don't know if you fancy editing something at some point, but we've got a picture of like the world map and where the armies are, and there isn't many armies near any of these Varushkan territories, so that's not great. So that you might find it takes a season or two. They've got free reign, which again is not great. We've got another army, also an army, the Blade of Skies, in Karov, and yeah, they're very slowly trying to conquer a region there, and they're sort of affecting the actual production of that sort of like territory, which isn't great. So again, that needs to seek attention with those like the Karov and Voldemarts. I feel like because we've not got any military armies nearby, I'm not sure if this is where military units come in. You know, they could
almost
be
certainly.
We're going to have to go defend key points there.
There will almost certainly have to be a. there will probably be a. It's here or there. One of them's going to get destroyed because we can't defend both, basically.
Yeah, well, like you were saying earlier, it sounds like they're just going to rampage their way through and start doing damage. And unfortunately, it's going to hit the pockets of the civilians because it's hitting our sort of economy side of things.
Yeah.
So
that's 8 new armies have appeared. Yeah. Or 9, but one of them's been destroyed.
Exactly. And in theory, more can just be plucked out of the realm, right? So I think in I want to say Bregersland, they basically, I think that army were looking, they captured I think it was a Spring Regio or maybe a Day Regio, I don't know. They captured a Regio with the idea of using it to pull more heralds through, to basically enlarge in their army. But because we dealt with that army nice and quickly, that didn't happen. So yeah, they're gonna, by the looks of it, they're just gonna try open the floodgates. Do you know, like in Avengers, when they open up that space rift and they all flood in? Maybe that. I don't know.
I've just read under, every Eternal has a boons section. Like what boons they give you. It says here, the only boon Cold Sun offers mortal beings is a swift and efficient, if painful, death. Which I think is great.
Fair enough.
I mean, not the death bit great, but I think that as a listing under boon is brilliant.
Yeah. So talking about the last little, we got 2 more Colton armies kicking around. One in Hanmark and one in Calavesa. So I didn't pre-read this, so I'm gonna have to do it on the fly. But you've got the army of the Silent Ark that are currently in Hanmark. Where they are. Let me have a look. Oh, so yeah, they've been badly bloodied by Hanmark, but they're still in Hanmark. So it looks like this is where we've had players rock up and do damage. Military units have rocked up and slapped at this army in Hanmark, but the army's still there. It's still a threat. So, that's another unchecked army. We do have an army in Hercynia, which is right next to it. So maybe that might march to help Hanmark. And then you've got 4 armies in Bregersland that might go help
Imperial armies.
Imperial armies, sorry, I should say. Yeah, Imperial armies. So Hanmark and Calavesa, we've got a load of armies nearby. We've got like 9 Imperial armies in the northwest of the Empire, in either there or sort of in enemy territory. So we've got plenty nearby. So we might be able to sort of deal with that, hopefully. Who knows? Again, until we're in the game, reading the wiki's fine, but until you're in the game, you get a good idea of what's the actual deal. So
things will change rapidly as well as the game goes on, as it always does.
So, because again, I assume we're going to have conjunctions in game to go and deal with this as well. Like we did last event, we had a conjunction to go into Bregersland to deal with some of the Cold Sun there. And that's where we had that. The skirmish crew were given. We had a miniature conjunction to go out, and the skirmish crew were sort of given slightly. They misinterpreted the Cold Sun rules to the point where they were like near invincible. So you had like the first conjunction go out, and they just got absolutely slapped back through the Sentinel gate. To then find like the next conjunction went out and actually did okay. So I think the first conjunction, something silly like they couldn't die or something. No, they were immune to everything or something like that. So you could just had to hit them and that was it. You couldn't use spell, something like that. I don't know, but which was obviously a mistake. It wasn't meant to be that. But it just found like the first group that went out to the first time we fought the Cold Sun, they were like, they're immortal, and then that was going around Empire, and everyone's like, you can't kill these things, and they were like, no, big mistake. It was an accident. They can be killed. Yeah. So yeah, that was a funny one. So yeah, what I was trying to say is maybe we'll have some more conjunctions going forward.
Definitely.
To deal with some of these. That leaves our last army, which is in Calavesa, which is the I don't even have to
Exigent Span.
Exigent Span. Yes, the Exigent Span, who are in Calavesa. Let's find out what's going on there. Again, military units and stuff like that rocked up to help fight them. They have been beaten, but they are I think they're still in the territory. They haven't been driven. So we've sort of blunted their attack in a way, but they're still there, ready to
go
fight. So yeah, kind of briefly talking about Windsor. So it's kind of like, at a quick glance, we destroyed one army, we've bumped another army out of our realm. So, wins all round. A couple of our territories are in a bit of a bad state, and then quite a few others are potentially going to be a bad state because they've got armies sat in there ready to go. So it's going to be on to the military generals now to, I guess, go deal with these armies. Otherwise, we're going to start having great works, sinecures, ministries start getting trashed. I didn't say in this, but quite a few of the trods and stuff in the northern territories of like Vrushka and stuff like that have been wrecked. So
I think I don't think we've quite got the point across as to how I think significant this enemy is and is going to be. I mean, in terms of the general roadmap for Empire, we're about halfway through, I believe. 10 years is about halfway through their expected lifespan for the game. So this feels like the big mid-game baddie.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this world ending? Yes. If left unchecked. However, do we have the tools to check it early? Yes.
Yeah, I think the potential for it to go bad is big if we don't get stuck in, because I've made a couple of notes as we've been talking about the Cold Sun, and the one of the biggest things that jumps out is it's not just the Empire that it wants to get rid of. It wants to kill every single sapient creature, which is everyone in the Empire, all of the barbarian orcs, all of the kind of aligned countries and empires that we trade with, everything. It wants everything gone.
So I think you said, probably before we hit record earlier, but you were like, oh, what? So we're going to have to team up the barbarians, I think you said. Could be real.
Potentially.
I think, let's quote my favorite film franchise, Pacific Rim. Are these grade 1 kaijus coming at us? They've sent, quite a few armies. They've sent like 9 armies through. And I said, we have the tools to deal with them. We've got the military armies. We just got to go out there and fight them. I reckon if we put the armies around this season to fight and take care of those other armies let's say half a year to a year, I reckon we could have dealt with that threat. Assuming they don't send a level 2 kaiju through, and then next we got a level 7 kaiju that combines with other kaijus to make a big kaiju. I think we could. This again. What I'm trying to say is, you were saying like, oh, this is the mid game bid bad. Imagine if we beat off the Cold Sun, they go, and then in like 3 years' time, 15 armies just turn up. They send a wave, and then lining up for in 10 years' time, you're going to have a full level 9 kaiju or level 10 kaiju comes in.
Such a specific reference. For any of you that haven't seen Pacific Rim, how can we put that across?
I'm talking about the films, may I add, not the animes, because I think they are animes or maybe mangas and stuff like that. So I'm talking about the films, which are great. So yeah, like you at the moment, I think it should be manageable, assuming everyone does the right thing. But also, this is now weakening the Empire to open up to barbarians. You know, we're currently at war with the Jotun. The Thule have sort of allied with us temporarily to deal with the Jotun. You know,
I think it will very quickly
resources off the front line to deal with this. Yes,
I think this is only the start. This is just a little introduction to the Cold Sun. I think no matter what the Empire does,
that's what I'm saying.
Imagine
if the Cold Sun are the end game, right? And PD have chucked a semi-hard scenario at us with no intentions of it wrecking us, with the idea of being like, yeah, you don't know what's hitting you in a few years' time. We're coming at you. You know, they could bring the Cold Sun back, you know, and even tougher and bigger and badder again. You know, these are guys. These are the flood for Halo, right?
Yeah.
This starts, you know, and I think it's a snowball effect. So once the Cold Sun get going, in theory, they want to grow and spread and destroy everything. They're the Tyranids of Warhammer 40k. They're the flood of Halo.
Now I understand. Yeah, you've used a Halo reference, and now I get it.
Yeah, they're the Kaijus of Pacific Rim Lounge.
They're the automatons of Helldivers.
They're the Terminids of Helldive. So yeah, we could find like this is, you know, again, dealable now, but I kind of see the way this is working, unless we befriend whatever this. I don't even know what the Eternal is who's doing this. I think
the Eternal is called the Cold Sun.
Oh, and it's the Cold Sun Heralds, right?
Yeah, Heralds of the Cold Sun.
Yes. So
we'll edit that out. No one will know.
Thank you for. Yeah, I just missed that. So yeah, like you could find like unless we befriend the Cold Sun, which doesn't sound like we are going to because they want to destroy everything.
I believe we have tried and failed.
Right. So in theory, unless we get a nuke, strap it to a Gypsy Danger, and send them through the breach and blow up the Kaiju factory. Unless we do that, are we just going to keep getting Cold Sun arms coming through?
Yeah. Comments down below if you can work out what the hell Matt is talking about, please, for my sake, because I don't know that much about Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim reference. So yeah, unless we do that, you know.
Yeah. The other note I have is that I believe, despite our relative success with them, it has been heavy losses for the Empire, which doesn't bode well.
Probably right. Yeah. So I think if my stance on it is, say the armies are there to deal with them, but the military units sound like they can hold them at bay slightly. So it might just be leaning heavily on these military units to keep some of the Cold Sun armies at bay, whilst the Imperial armies rock up and, you know, do some damage. So again, I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the state of our current armies, so you might be right. We might have done good damage to a few armies, but our armies themselves could be out of action for two seasons. Sorry. So yeah, it's interesting. So
that's that. Unless you've got anything else to add, that is I'd say the two biggest things currently released for things to think about at E1.
Yeah, and I think it's nice going through the Cold Sun stuff because this has been around for about a year now. Let's say a year, half a year. It's not something I've really even thought about. Yeah. But actually, it's quite a big issue. So
yeah, I've learned a lot from what you've just said.
Yes, same here.
In the last 30 minutes.
Same. So yeah, Cold Sun's very interesting. And we're going to have a really good party at the coronation. So
big party.
Doom, Dread, world-ending, Oblivion, and party, happy, joy.
Yeah.
So we got both.
Not necessarily two different entities either.
No,
you could have a world-ending party.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we might have to, I think.
We could drink into Oblivion and then go fight some Cold Sun Heralds.
You've got to laugh or else you'll cry, I guess. So, bingo.
Wow, that's cool. I'm excited. Hopefully that's got you guys excited. I think the aim is for us to, if some more stuff comes out for wins, we'll maybe do a little breakdown again over the next couple of weeks.
If we get a tasty chunk by next weekend, we might be able to chuck something together. Bear in mind we need to also prep for E1 rather than spending all our time.
I'm gonna leave it until the Friday morning shopping.
I got so many little bits and bobs I need to be doing, and every time I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, if we get a snippet or a chunk, in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we'll chuck out another wins ramble. Like I said, we got a bonus special one we want to chuck out as well before E1. So yeah, well, as long as recording's done by the next couple of weeks, we might release it closer to E1, which might be a better idea, but who knows? So
it might sound like he's talking to you, the listener, but
I'm not. No,
really, he's talking to me and he's talking to himself, and he's saying that we need to get the recording done, which I'm on board with. I am on board with.
I'm psyching myself up. That's what I'm trying to do.
We're going to do it. Once we get into it, it's all good. It's the build up of starting the episode, I think, is the biggest
thing. Getting around to do it. And I was worried that we weren't going to have much to talk about today, but
yeah, I know you. I could tell.
We ran out. Yeah, we ran out of time, if anything.
Yeah,
so, nice.
When I said we maybe do it over a few episodes, I saw the look in your eyes of we're going to run out in 10 minutes, but just have faith, mate.
Yeah,
we did it.
Faith in waffling.
Yeah. And as always, if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about or delve into, drop it in the comments below.
Or rather, more importantly, come check out the Discord.
How about both?
Discord is a bubbling, and we're having a good time with Discord right now. Chuck a comment down below. If you're on Spotify, you can do a little question thing. Go check out our Facebook group, which is incredibly a buzz right now.
It's so neglected. We're so bad at Facebook.
And yeah, by all means, come jump on the Discord. We've got like a good bunch in here. We're chatting. Obviously, leading up to E1 now is probably going to get a bit more buzzy. So
people are sharing their kit and stuff, which is really amazing to see. Some people doing absolutely amazing stuff, as always. And it always blows my mind because I could never. But it is really good seeing all of your creations and stuff. All of the links to all of our stuff is below. If you're on Spotify, just search Another LARP podcast on YouTube, and you'll find us.
Don't forget to share us with all your family and friends as well. Get the name
out there. We're having a good bit of growth, I think, on YouTube at the moment, especially. I think in the lead up to the first thing. So yeah, we'd love for that to continue. So do share us around on wherever you find yourself on the internet.
Yeah.
And until next time, have a good one. That's it. My extremely professional sign off. See you later.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.